Hello. Today we are moving on to 0.11, which is on solving systems of equations algebraically. So in the last lesson we solved systems of equations and we did it using graphs. Today we're going to do it algebraically. In other words, we're just going to have equations that we're going to solve. We're not going to deal with any graphs. Okay? So to start off, just to kind of introduce an idea of what we're going to use today, I want you to stop and actually try this problem out. So I have an equation here, 5x plus 3y equals 26, and I said I want you to solve for x when y equals 2. All right? So take a second, try and solve that, put your answer down, and then we'll come back and we'll look at, okay, how would we actually approach that? All right, so kind of looking at how we'd approach that, well, I mean, really simple, right? We know what the y is, right? So if I want to solve this, I can say, well, I know y equals 2. I can take that 2 and just plug it in. So we take the 2 in, plug it in, and then just kind of go through our steps of getting x alone. And in the end, you should get x equals 4. Okay? Now, what if we were given a slightly similar question? Forgot to cover it up there. But instead of having y equals 2, we would have something like y equals 2x minus 1. Well, here's the deal. We can still do this the exact same way we did it before. I know that y equals this whole thing right here. So I can take 2x minus 1, I can put it in for y. And so basically I would substitute that in, take the whole thing, put it in right there, and I got to put it in parentheses, and you'll see that in a second with the examples we're going to do. But I can take that whole thing, put it in for the y, and then I'd be able to solve for x. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we'll do that in a second, but right, like this is now just going to be like what we did last week, where we got to distribute that 2, and then we got to try and get x alone. But the point is, this problem where we just have y equals 2, and we take the 2 and plug it in, and this is the problem where we have the y equals 2x minus 1, and we take that and we plug it in. Those are the same problem. There's really no difference between them. We're taking something, plug it in for y, because we know that's what y equals. So let's look at an example of what we're going to do today. So that's going to be kind of our trick today. So today I'm going to give you a system of equations. And so here we've got y equals 2x minus 1 and 3x plus 2y equals 26. Those should look pretty familiar. And I'm going to say I want you to solve this system. Okay? Well, the first way, and actually I don't know why it says elimination there. The first way we're going to do this is by substitution. And what that means is one of your equations will have like y equals or x equals or something like that. Well, we can take whatever y equals and we can plug it in for y. So let's just kind of look at that. So this example, we've got y equals 2x minus 1. Well, what does that mean? That means I know I can take 2x minus 1 and I can plug it in for y because that's what y equals. And so if we're going to use substitution, that's what we do. We take this whole thing, 2x minus 1, and we plug it in for y. Right? And so what would that look like? Well, we'd have 3x plus 2 times, and then we got to put the 2x minus 1 in parentheses, equals 26. All right, and that's actually the first step we're going to be doing. We take that 2x minus 1, we substitute it for y. From there, this is easy to solve. We just got to solve for x. All right, and that's going to be a little complicated in this case, but it's not too bad. We got to, well, first of all, there's my equal sign. We have to start by distributing the 2x. So we'd have 3x plus 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times negative 1 is minus 2 equals 26. Right? Then we can combine some like terms here at the beginning. 3x plus 4x is 7x minus 2 equals 26. And then we just got to get x alone. So I'll add 2 to both sides. We get 7x equals 28. And then divide both sides by 7. And we get x equals 4. All right. And so that's pretty simple. We had y equals 2x minus 1, so take the 2x minus 1, plug it in for y, and then just solve for x. And some students will think, oh great, we're done. We found what x is. But remember, we don't just have an x up here, we also have a y. And so when we solve for this, it's great that we got x, but we also have to find y. And finding y, well, that's really simple. I know x is 4. And so I can take the 4 and I can plug it in for x in one of these two equations. And it doesn't matter which one you use. I think the top one would be easier here because we just plug it in right there and then just evaluate that. But you could use either one. And so now I know x equals 4. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that into this top equation, y equals 2x minus 1. And so we'd have y equals 2 times 4 minus 1, because we take that 4 and just plug it in. And then we can simplify that. Well, this would be y equals, well, 2 times 4, that's 8, minus 1 is 7. And so our x value is 4, our y value is 7. Our answer would be the ordered pair 4, 7. And that's it. That is solving by substitution. So let's look at another example, and then we'll come back and talk about a couple specific examples and then talk about elimination. So our second example here, we have y equals x minus 1 and x plus y equals 7. So I see at the beginning here, what do we have? We know y equals this thing right here, y equals x plus 1. And so I can take x plus 1, I can plug it in for y. And so we would have x plus x minus 1 equals 7. From there, we can just solve for x. Now, technically, there's a 1 here, which we could distribute if we wanted, but it wouldn't really do anything, so we could just combine like terms. X plus x, that is 2x. The minus 1 would drop down, equals 7. And then solve for x. Add 1 to both sides, and we get 2x equals 8. Divide both sides by 2, and we have x equals 4. All right, and so that's great. We have the x value, but remember we also need to find the y value, so we got to take this 4, we got to plug it in. I'm going to put it into the top equation, and so what do we have? We'll have y equals, and then we take the 4, plug it in, 4 minus 1, and so y equals 3. And so what's our solution? Well, it is the ordered pair 4, 3, because our x value is 4 and our y value is 3. All right, so go try out an example. We'll come back, talk about one specific case and one thing that you could do, but I'm actually going to say we shouldn't do, and I'll show you why. And then we'll go to elimination. All right, so try out a problem here, and we'll come back.